When we start to think about designing things, we often tend to think that it's a sort of spontaneous process where a light bulb goes off and we suddenly have a breakthrough in terms of how to solve a problem. But actually, it doesn't need to be that way. It could be a much more systematic process for innovation. And one of the tools that we use to do that is called the double diamond design thinking approach. So I want to take you through what the double diamond design thinking approach involves and actually suggest a modification to the approach that is normally used. So what we do is we start off at the very beginning with the first double diamond with a group of people who are essentially our stakeholders, the people who are really going to help us to get it right, because they're going to be the people that are going to use it at the end of the day. What we do is, and what the diamond represents in that first half of the diamond is really the sort of divergent thinking that needs to go on, where that group of people put on the table all of the things that are important about the solution that they're looking for. Unfettered. They just put it down rather like sticking stickies on the wall. What we do in the second part of that first diamond then is gather that information, kind of grouping those stickies together into what becomes a set of design criteria. So at the end of that first double diamond, we have a set of design criteria, which are basically saying, this is what we're really looking for at the end of the day. This is what it needs to do. We then start the second double diamond, and what we're doing there is we're saying, well, now we have the design criteria, what kinds of solutions are available to us? And again, we allow this unfettered approach to all sorts of different solutions can be put up there on the yellow stickies on the wall in order for us to start to sort through them. So the end of the second diamond is where we've sorted through all of those different options and settled on what we believe will be the best solution based on the criteria that were set by the stakeholder group at the beginning. Now, normally what happens is we consider that to be the end of the design thinking process. And quite often what people suggest is that we should then, feed back the outcomes of that work by taking it all the way back to the beginning of the problem definition stakeholder group and asking them what they think about the solution at the end of the day. I'd like to suggest that just is not practical, in that it restricts us really in terms of how many iterations we could have in order to get the final solution optimized, and suggests that what we really need is a third double diamond. So the third double diamond is really about how we take the results that we obtain the first time we use the system, we feed it back to a small subgroup of users who can start to look at, well, how did it do? And the beginning of that third double diamond is essentially all of the things that they observed in terms of how it did and how that matches up with their original specifications. Closing out the third double diamond can be then a process of prioritizing by saying, okay, these are the things that we need to sort through first. As we go through the iterations of the third double diamond, we can gradually get to a fully optimized solution. One of the approaches that is used to look at the process of evaluating a prototype is to use what's called the sprints approach. The idea behind the sprints approach is that we quickly and simply try out the solution and get some field experience with it, and then iterate and improve it as we've got more and more experience in putting it into practice. So that third double diamond combines the concept of design thinking with sprints. If you haven't read the book about sprints, I would strongly recommend you take a look, because it really combines these ideas together to produce what is then a ready to try out prototype, and then hopefully ready to implement, put into practice. Good design thinking. Hope it goes well.